Hello YouTube and welcome to lesson 36 of the Photoshop tutorial series. Today we're going to look at how to save for web inside of Photoshop. So usually if you want to save it for web or export it into web, then what you want to do is you want to actually maintain a very small file size. So let's say I have a custom shape over here. So let me just take a custom shape over here, anyone I want. And then what I want to do is I'm going to drag the shape just like this. Alright, so I need to fill this up with the color right here. Alright, let me just also go to the blending option and do the drop shadow and increase the size and distance of the shadow just like this. Spread the size. Alright, there you go for look, spread it out. Alright, there you go. So here I have an image that I want to save for web. So in order to save for web, just go to File. And over here you can see that there's save for web. And if you're using a newer version of Photoshop, you may actually go to legacy options right there and you can find save for web over there. But anyways, it is there. So just click on save to web, save for web, and you actually see that there is original and there's optimized over here. Alright, so if you were to see original, so this is 313 KB, as you can see that. Alright. So if you go to optimize, you can see that this is 24 KB with it optimized for web. But over here, you can see that the file format it's selected is JPEG. So right now, the JPEG quality is at 100%. So if I were to zoom it in, you can see that there's no artifacts whatsoever, but it is just 24 KB instead of the original 313 KB right there. But if I were to decrease the quality, you can see that the amount of size over there actually decreases. So if I were to do, let's say 70%, then you can see that most of the quality is there. But if I were to increase it, it is very, very clear. But if I were to decrease the quality, you can see that the size is actually 3 KB, but you can see that there's a square artifact over there. So this is how JPEG actually compresses pictures, and you can see that the quality of the picture doesn't look that good, but it is good for web because like it loads quite fast even in dial-up. So in 1 second, it loads up in a dial-up internet, if you can see over here. So this is low, so you can even select the quality of the picture right here. But one of the drawbacks with JPEGs is that it does not support transparency. So if you're actually saving a logo in website or so forth, then you want to save it in another format and not in JPEG because you don't want the white background over here. So JPEG is actually very good for pictures again, and it saves pictures in very, very low file size. So other options we have over here is GIF. So GIF actually supports transparency, and this actually takes up 19 KB, and you can see that there's no artifacts as you can see in JPEG, and it takes up less space. But the only thing is that it supports transparency as you can see over here, but it does not support semi-transparency. So it's either whole transparent or not. So you can even change the color palette size of the GIF that you want to save it to. Right now it's 256. If you were to decrease it, this file size actually decreases as well, and it still does not lose quality. So if you want to save some buttons or graphics, then this is a great quality you can save it to. Or also GIF can have small animations. So if you were to select 2, you can see that only 2 is selected. 4, and you can see that the level of colors used in the picture actually decreases just like that. So over here, this is how you select the GIF. And you can enable and disable the transparency. If you disable the transparency, then you can see that this actually increases the file size rather than decreasing it. So if you were to go to PNG 8, it is similar to GIF. So you have the amount of colors and it pretty much does the same work. But PNG 24 supports semi-transparency, as you can see. Now even in the shadows there's semi-transparency. So if you have a really detailed graphics with semi-transparency in it, or gradual transparency like in this picture, then you might want to select PNG 24. So you can enable and disable transparency over here as well. PNG 24 is much more better. WebMPD is not used much, and it only has the monitor colors and only 2 colors. That's not used much, so not really a format that should be using for web. So we either use GIF, that's for flat colors and animation especially, and if you don't have semi-transparency right there. PNG 8 does the same thing, and this is the newer format. JPEG is for pictures, and PNG 24 is for pictures with semi-transparency. So hope you guys learned something as always. Alright, and as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.